Hello, and welcome to episode 128 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today on the podcast, I have an interview with Stef Johnson. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. Stef Johnson Design is a full-service interior design studio based in North Carolina, providing a classic approach to easy luxury in residential and commercial projects. For over a decade, the SJD team has offered a unique combination of design and construction knowledge. They pride themselves in prioritizing clients' personal taste and believe that each home should reflect the client's unique personality, highlighting objects they love. Steph shares with us her journey into interior design. I think a lot of people can relate to her stories, so you're going to want to listen in. And before we do that, I want to remind you I have some fun downloads for you in the show notes. You can find the 3 things I wish I had known before I started my career in interior design. If you want to know that, go ahead and click on the link and it will be emailed to you. All right, now let's hear from Steph. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. Hi, Steph. Welcome to Design Curious Podcast. So great to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always happy to talk to other designers. North Carolina is a great place, obviously the capital of the furniture industry. So why don't you tell our listeners how you even got into interior design? What sparked your interest to get into that field?
Sure. I have a mom that was in decorating and interior design, and my father was a residential high-rise developer, still working, but shifted gears. So I grew up
Yeah, you're steeped
being
in it with early age.
exactly
Yeah.
immersed, whether I liked it or not.
Mm.
And even on vacation or traveling, my parents would drag us into antique stores and
Mm.
things because they were both highly interested
Mm-hmm.
in interior design. So after I graduated from Sewanee with a degree in econ and art, I feel like I was
Hmm.
covering both
Yeah.
kind of sides of the brain. I actually got a stipend to come to Charlotte and had my first job here. I quickly moved on to working for a residential developer locally
Okay.
and helped them curate a palette of interior and exterior finishes for buyers to choose from while I was getting my real estate license.
Oh, okay.
But I was just trying to figure out which way I was going to skin the cat and was still a little unsure about what my path was going to be
Hmm.
in my early 20s.
Was there ever a time where you did not want to go into interiors because you had grown up with it and you were surrounded by it all the time?
Yeah, for sure. When I didn't really even see it at the time, but I was really interested in event planning,
Mm,
which is tangent
it is
to
adjacent, yeah.
so looking back, I was like, it's actually just really terrible hours and super hard work.
Yeah.
So I that wasn't my favorite of professions, but it helped me move into, okay, where can we move to next? And that was working for the developer.
Okay.
And then after a couple years with him, decided to get some more project management experience. I have my real
Mm.
estate license, and then I moved on to work for a local residential and construction or commercial contractor.
Oh, okay.
And they assigned me to a really neat project, and I was in person on site every day, making sure all the homeowners' finishes got installed correctly. So that was like learning a lot of the construction side.
Mhm.
which I feel like is super advantageous to have in this field.
For sure. Yeah.
And I've obviously carried that with me as I've progressed in my career.
So it was a commercial developer, but it was still dealing with residences?
Yes, a developer bought and hired the general contractor I was working for to renovate the old Home Federal Savings and Loan Building in Uptown Charlotte. It's a really cool spot.
Mm.
It's only, I think, 7 floors, and they took an entire floor and created one huge flat out of it.
Oh,
You could
nice.
do like a 7,000 square foot flat, or you could stack and do a 2-story,
Mm.
or you could take half that and do 3,500 feet. But
Yeah.
there was only, I think it was maybe 9 units in the whole building.
Okay.
So Michael Jordan ended up going in there, and
Oh, goodness.
a couple of people that were associated with NFL or NBA sports in Charlotte. And
Yeah.
I didn't get to work with him personally, but
Mm.
it
But
really helped me learn how to deal with people and their
mm,
emotions around their residences.
mm, okay.
Figuring out how people live, they can bring them joy, making them happy, and sticking to a timeline and budget and fun things.
Yeah. And when you worked at with the developer doing model homes and everything, did you do quite a variety there? Was that a good learning place for you?
Yes. Yeah, that was a great first stepping stone, I think, to getting my real estate license, just kinda, like, further helped me pull together my level of interest and curiosity for homes and making things beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So then what happened after working for the commercial developer doing those huge
Uh,
flats?
yes. I got a little bit of retail experience and had my first child, so that was, again, like, another kinda, "Okay, where are we gonna go with this thing?" I definitely don't wanna work retail, but it was great just to see that side of the picture, and also how furniture plays in after the construction piece and buying the home or the lot and creating the development. So I learned about markups and fees and how I could parlay all these things together, which ended up being about 10 years of experience, and then molding those into going out on my own.
Mm,
That was the final piece, is seeing the retail side, going
but
to High Point Market,
okay. Yeah.
getting my feet wet there, and then just getting the confidence
You
and
felt
knowing
like you
that.
had enough of all the pieces of the puzzle to go out on your own.
Yeah, I feel like I had enough experience at that point to prove myself, and people were interested in my opinions, and they'd come in for a sofa and end up leaving with a whole room of furniture, and it felt good just knowing that you can help people making their homes more enticing for them to wanna spend time there. And
Mhm.
so that was my last kinda piece before going out on my own.
Okay. So then how long have you had your business?
I've been on my own for 12 years.
Okay. And how is it set up? Is it just you? Do you have a team? Do you have a showroom?
Yeah. I have a small team, and I have a studio, downstairs at my house. So I have all my samples and can have clients over for meetings
Hmm.
here. So that was something that was new, like, in the last 2 years. My husband and I built our own house, so
Oh, okay.
we are able to incorporate that, places for us both to be able to work from home.
Mhm. How did you like being your own client then? Building your own or
I'll
having your
tell you,
husband be your client?
making decisions for myself is terrible.
Yes, it's so hard for designers. I've heard of designers actually hiring other designers to do their own homes because it's so hard to make decisions for yourself
It
when you're
is
spending your own money.
it is really tragic,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yeah.
And you can get your mind wrapped around something and then you're like, "Gosh, but I know that's not what I really want." I'm like, "I gotta find it."
Yes, yeah, because there's so many options out there. It's really hard to narrow it down for yourself.
Oh, yeah, and at the next market, there's gonna be a whole new round of
Yeah,
things to choose from, so
yeah, never ending.
exactly.
Okay, so do you work mostly then in North Carolina in your area, or do you have clients elsewhere?
Not really. I'm based in Charlotte and Highlands, North Carolina. Done work up in New York City, Houston, Tampa, Anna Maria, Florida, Atlanta. So I love to
Wow.
travel and
Yeah.
I'm happy to. And it's actually a fun little challenge to find a good receiver and all the
Mhm.
to take on the things. Or when I did the job in New York, I actually just shipped everything to Charlotte.
Mm.
And then I was able to curate things locally and just take them up there myself as I was collecting them.
Okay.
And then on install day, we just had
Need
the
a big
truck drive
check.
up and I
Yeah.
met him up there, and it went so smoothly. I, like, still pinch myself to this day, but we did the whole thing in one day,
Oh my goodness.
and
That's crazy.
when you're traveling, I think it forces you to be even more organized
Mm.
and plan in advance, whereas if it's local, you're like, "Oh, I forgot the light bulbs at my
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
I forgot to go by Home Depot to get these the tools that I needed," but you really gotta figure it out ahead of time
Mhm.
if you're gonna be responsible for meeting the movers and, getting it all done elsewhere where they might not have the resources available.
Right. I'm sure that is very challenging. How do you find good receivers in other cities besides your own? Do you reach out to other designers or
Yes, sometimes. Also, I've had my client ask their contractor or a neighbor who's recently done their whole house or built a home. So sometimes my clients are good resources just by getting referrals from somebody close by. And then also, I just can start Googling and vetting out. There's certain things that I want to look for and make sure they're going to inspect everything upon receiving and
Mhm.
notify me immediately if anything is awry. And also, someone that's very organized. Some people have programs for receiving and delivering furniture, which is super helpful.
Mhm.
And some people will get something in and you won't hear anything from them. And 2 weeks later, I'm calling, "Oh my goodness, did you receive these case goods?" Like, I haven't got notification. They're like, "Oh yeah, we got them 2 weeks ago," and that's not okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So vetting them out thoroughly beforehand, and as you repeat jobs, obviously in the same
Mhm.
areas, you can reuse. And most of these receivers will drive an hour or two.
Yeah.
They're happy to travel also. So if you get somebody you like and they're in the same state, then you can reuse
Mhm.
if it goes
That's a good
well.
point, yeah. So, how do you get these jobs that are in other states? That it doesn't seem like people usually start out that way, but
Yes. A lot of my work is repeat clients, which is such a beautiful thing because once you get to know someone and their tastes and how you work well together, you can just hit rewind and play and do it again.
Mhm.
So I would say a number of them are second homes
Okay.
and referrals.
Mm.
Like most all of my work is referrals.
Okay, that's great. It's obviously a good testament that you're doing something well and that you get referrals
It's
to
the
to
greatest
their
compliment
friends.
for sure.
Yes, it is, yeah. So what's your favorite job of all these
Mm.
exotic places that you're working?
Yeah, I love doing new things. So I think along with the construction background, would say my other asset that I bring to the table that maybe not everybody else does is that I like to not repeat. anything.
Mm,
So I love doing work in the mountains, and I love doing this job in Texas because we can incorporate the Lone Star State and
mhm,
cowboy boots. And
mhm. So a lot of variety then.
right now, I hadn't done a job at the beach in a while. And one of my good friends, we've known each other for like 25 years. She has a second house in Florida that got devastated by Helene.
Mm,
And so I called her and we had worked together before, but I was like, I really want to do your reno at the beach.
yeah.
And she's game on. Let's do it. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
actually really excited
good.
about that right now
Yeah.
to do something coastal.
Yeah, fun.
Haven't done it in a while, so it's fun.
That's great. That's great. So you like to do a variety of styles and different things. I do feel like even though looking at your portfolio, you have definitely a consistent look. Everything's light and airy and sophisticated. And I think that it doesn't matter what region you're working in, that you definitely have curated your look to be something that people are drawn to.
Thank you.
Yeah. So do you use social media a lot for promoting your business then? If you get a lot of referrals and word of mouth, I don't know if a lot of it's coming through social media?
I think it's not a secret that I loathe social media. And I have never gotten a job off of Instagram.
Okay.
I feel like I need to stay on top of it just for credibility.
Mhm.
I do feel like new clients before they even call me probably get on there and start trolling
Mhm.
and also probably checking my website, which is something I feel like you need to update every couple years. So I do feel like it's a good platform and a resource for people that are wanting to get into the business or looking for house ideas, but I have to date not found it to be a good place to do business per se.
Mhm. Okay. That's good. Good point of view. I think that's pretty common for people who do have a good client base, that you just don't really need the social media as much.
Yeah, I've heard of a lot of people taking breaks from it. I
Mhm.
love that. I just feel like there's this like obligatory, like, I need to post X amount of times per week. And at the end of the day, you just want to make sure it's quality and
Mhm.
you're not just dumping something out there just to post another thing. So I just, I really struggle with it. I also feel like things are probably going to change sooner than later. I don't know. I just feel like there's a new platform coming. Don't
Mhm.
know what it is, but
That always is, yeah. Whether it's AI or something else,
exactly.
Yeah.
Something will just start reading my mind and putting it out on the World Wide Web.
Yeah. Have you spent a lot of time developing your business practices, or did you look to your background with your parents or anything like that when you went to start your business? Did you know what you're doing based on working with other people, or did you have to spend a lot of time developing your own systems?
It's been a huge learning curve. I never worked with another interior designer.
Okay.
So I've, self started and come up from ground zero very organically. And initially, when I first started, I would take on any client. I mean, not to, I don't want to belittle the process or anything like that,
Mhm.
but I do feel like it's smart to. My husband was actually instrumental in this, but he's like, you need to learn how to work with all the different type of people.
Mm.
Learn to work with the ones that are easy, that are going to be fun for you, that are going to keep you in the game. And you also need to learn to work for the ones that are going to be a huge pain uh,
Mhm.
and be challenging
Yeah.
because that's just the reality, which is funny because now I've gotten so particular. If I'm not vibing,
You you're in a
um,
place that you could say no to somebody, right? So, yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's, yeah, I wouldn't have taken a different path, but yeah, I'm very fortunate to where now I can just say no.
Yeah. That's a great place to be. Good, good. A lot of our audience haven't started their career path yet or thinking about becoming interior designers. Do you have any advice for someone who's up and coming in the industry?
Oh my goodness. I think doing an internship or mentoring, depending on age and place in life, I think if you can get some experience working with another designer that will take you on, I think it'd be super advantageous versus just launching out there on your own like I did. Otherwise, I'm always open to growing and learning new processes. And I tell that to my team also. I never want to get so caught up in one way that I'm not willing to change. But I do feel as far as accounting and platforms for creating design boards, and there is like a one-way road for a couple of these things. There's no sense in going and trying out some of these competitors because I did that. There's a reason that everyone uses QuickBooks. There's a reason that everyone has a program for housing all their images and
Yeah.
pricing and digital design boards. And so I think if you could work with someone, I
Mhm.
just think that would be super helpful.
Okay. Yeah, that's great advice. Well, thank you, Steph, for coming on today. It's been great to discover your path and your natural inclination to fall into interior design. It's very fun. Where can people find you? I know you're not on social media a lot, but if they want to see your portfolio.
Well, I am. I subbed that out, which has been great. But yeah, my Instagram handle is Steph Johnson Design, and my website is stephjohndesign.com.
Okay, great. We'll put that in the show notes so people can find you and reach out to you. Thank you for
Awesome.
coming on today. It's great talking with you.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to meet you.
So I always think it's helpful to hear how different designers get into the career path of interior design. Everyone starts in some place different. So it's great to hear Steph's story today. We'll have more interior designer stories coming up for you this year. And if you'd like to be on the podcast, go ahead to my website, ourwarddesign.com/podcast, and you'll see a link to become a guest on the show. I would love to talk to you and hear your story and help encourage and motivate others who might be interested in the career that they can take the journey too. Okay, that's all I have for you this week. Next week, I'll have another great episode. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.